Hi, it's Hope and welcome to the video. As you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, this is going to be my April TBR where I use my Bookopoly board to pick my books. I will also be taking part in the Magical Readathon and Realmathon, which I will talk about a little bit later in the video. But let's just kind of start off with going over how March went. So out of the 8 books that I had on my TBR, I've completely finished 4 of them. I've started 1 of them, and 2 I plan on finishing before the end of the month. I haven't started them, but I do plan on starting them probably tomorrow. And it is only the 27th when I'm filming this, so I do have a few more days. But either way, I only needed to read half, which is 4. So we are doing 6 rolls, which is like my baseline, and any doubles, we add a book. And so let's just jump in straight in with roll number 1. Okay, so here's the board. We last left off on a under 3.99 rating, and we're doing the 6 rolls. So let's start with roll number 1, which is a double. So we are doing 7. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So other. Ooh, this one's interesting. So other means a genre besides romance / contemporary and fantasy. So this could be a sci-fi, a horror, a thriller, a mystery, just kind of anything that doesn't fit in romance, contemporary, or fantasy. Which we started off great with a double, and for that it was other. So for me, other means, I kind of already explained it, of another genre besides contemporary, romance, or fantasy. And for this, I am picking Cytonic by Brandon Sanderson, which is the 3rd book in the Skyward series, which is a young adult sci-fi series where basically we are following Spencer, who she lives on this planet where there are these like aliens trying to attack, and there is kind of like a flight crew, like flight people that go up and fight these aliens whenever they come in waves, and Spencer really wants to be one of these pilots. Her father was one, but he deserted mid-mission, which means that Spencer originally can't do it, but she finds a way to do it, and this is the 3rd book in the series. This is the final book that I need to read to catch up, and I just read the novellas last month, so I'm really excited to finally read this, as April marks a year of me owning this and not reading it. So me reading a book that I bought like a year ago, shocker. So now roll number 2 of 7. Let's get these really shaken up. And 10 again, but not a double at least. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, object. So that means there has to be an object on the cover, like a sword, a cup, a crystal, a animal. Animal's not an object, but like just something that is not a person or a design, I guess. For roll number 2, we got object, and for this I am picking Court by Tracy Wolff, as see, it only just has these 2 objects and nothing else besides the text and then a Books a Million sticker. But this is the 4th book in the Crave series. I am a co-host for the Crave Along, which I'll leave the announcement video down below and in the iCard. I think it's this side. But this is a young adult paranormal series, which in the 1st book, Crave, we are following Grace, who ends up having to attend this boarding school in rural Alaska that is ran by her uncle after her parents pass away. And little does Grace know when she enters this school that it is a school for the paranormal, and there is somebody out to kill her. And the plot has changed so much from this. But yeah, this is April's book, so I obviously needed to get it on the TBR somehow. rule number 3 of 7, which was the exact same. I might need to get new dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is a community shelf. Community shelves are kind of the oddball prompts where they're prompts that I liked, but I just didn't want to put them on the board. I shuffled them before, so we're just gonna go with the top one, which is 3 words or less in the title. Sorry if the camera angle or the lighting changed. I had to grab something and I hit this. But we ended up getting a community shelf card, which this one was specifically 3 words or less in the title. And for this, I'm picking Twisted Lies by Anna Huang, which is the 4th and final book in the Twisted series, which is basically like a adult, like new adult, I think it's adult, which basically is a adult kind of interconnected standalone series where we are following basically 4 friends as they have their stories with love. And this is Stella's story, where she falls for a guy named Christian, who we've met in previous books. And this is, it borders dark romance, but it's not. And that's pretty much all I know about this, and that my friend Mac literally has been yelling at me to read it, but obviously I had to read the other books in the series, but now I'm finally going to be reading it, and it's finishing a series, which I am so happy that I'm doing. Roll 4 of 7. Okay, well this one just flew off, so I'm gonna roll it again. And 6, so 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What the fuck is it with community shelf? I got that twice in a row. That has never happened before. At least we already know what this is. So what is it gonna be? Seasonal. So seasonal meaning it has to be a book that fits the vibe of spring. So whether it be there's a spring word in the cover, like in the title, or there's something that screams spring on the cover, or the plot line, just kind of anything that's seasonal. And obviously we are in spring, or even like something Easter, because Easter is in April, so anything like that. And then somehow we got another community shelf right after it, which was seasonal. And for this, I'm picking Losing Hope by Colleen Hoover, because I don't know why, the cover just kind of screams spring to me. I don't know why. I was like looking for a book and I was like, none of these fit, but then this, I was like, that works. And this is the 2nd book in the Hopeless series, which this is basically a rewritten version of the 1st book, but from the guy's point of view, from Holder's point of view. And so in the 1st book, Hopeless, we are following Sky, and basically she ends up meeting Holder and not knowing that they used to know each other, and her life basically unraveling in front of her as things were revealed in her life, and I broke my heart with it. And so Losing Hope is that story from Holder's point of view, which I am honestly kind of terrified to read, because I know that I'm gonna have, like, even though I read Hopeless in July of last year, I still have feelings about that book, and so I feel like it's going to translate to this, of me still having those feelings and going into the book and being like, well, shit. Okay, I think this is roll 5 of 7. You know what, I'm going to roll these dice one at a time, because I feel like that's when I get the better rolls. 3. Nope, I take back what I said. I take back what I said. That I didn't like that. So now this is 5 of 8, I think. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Disability / mental health rep. So as long as there is a disability or mental health rep within the book, it counts for this prompt. And we got a double next. Everything's fine. But for this, we got disability / mental health rep. And for this, I am picking Psycho by Only James. And this is the 2nd book in the Necessary Evil series, which basically each book we are following the adopted son of this scientist, Thomas, who he basically adopted these kids as like an experiment, because they all are diagnosed psychopaths or have various other mental issues that cause them to have, like, basically they're psychopaths with other things mixed in, probably. And basically Thomas trains them to be serial killers to rid the world of the evil people that get like overlooked by the law, of like rich politicians who secretly are bad people, or just people who get away with things like child abuse or like rape or all those kind of things. That's where these 7 brothers step in, and this is August's story, and I don't know much about him except he's obviously one of the brothers. And yeah, and these are all like dark romance, and so I read the first book in March, and so I'm just going to continue the series. Roll 6 of 8. We're going back to rolling it like this. Fuck my life. Roll. So that means now we're up to 9. So this was 6 of 9, and we got 10. So I'm actually just going to turn the board and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A number generator. I will explain the number generator in the next, like when I talk about the book, because it's kind of confusing, but I'll explain it. So for number generator, I said I was going to explain it now. So basically, for what I do is I generate a number from 1 to 9, and I have to find a book that the final page of the book matches that number. I do 1 to 9 because I don't know why 1 to 0 just doesn't sound good. And so I will roll a clip of me, I'll insert the clip of me figuring out what number that is. And obviously we saw that that was a 7. And for that, I am picking A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, as the main part of the book ends on 387. So 387, which you can see right there. And then it goes into the acknowledgements, which I don't count acknowledgements for this, because this is a very difficult prompt. Hence why I'm kind of allowed to bend the rules. And this I honestly don't know much about, but pretty unpopular high school senior Andy Bell was murdered by her boyfriend Saul Singh, who then killed himself. It was all anyone could talk about, and 5 years later, Pip sees how the tragedy still haunts her town. Now a senior herself, Pip decides to re-examine the case closed for her final project. At first just to cast doubt on the original investigation, but soon she discovers a trail of dark secrets that might actually prove Saul innocent, and the line between past and present begins to blur. Someone in Fairview doesn't want Pip digging around for answers, and now her own life is in danger. And this book, thank you so much to Nikki for buying me this book for Christmas. I know it's one of your favorites if you're watching this, and so I'm so excited to have it on a TBR. 7 of 9. And it's an 8, so we're gonna turn the board. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continue a series, which is just literally continuing a series that I have started. Pretty simple. Roll number 7 gave us continue a series, and for this I am reading The Vanishing by Carla Nicole, and this is the second book in the Lore and Lust series, which in Lore and Lust we basically are kind of following 2 vampires, and that's all I remember. I read Lore and Lust in August of last year, and I need to continue the series. I remember enough that I can just go into it, but I don't remember the exact details, really. Yeah, that's all I got for this, but it's continuing a series, so it counts for the prompt. Roll number 8 of 9. What is it with 5s? A 6, so that's 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which is under a 4.0 rating on Goodreads. So something like maybe like a 4.10, a 4.15, even a 4.01 would count. For over a 4.0 rating, I'm picking The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. You might be saying, Hope, didn't you have Kingdom of Ash on your March TBR? Yes, I did. I'm currently reading it. So you may ask, why are you rereading it already? And the answer is me and Morgan from Morgan's Bookshelf have decided to read every single Sarah J. Maas book in publication order before House of Flame and Shadows comes out. And so I need to reread this so I can tab the shit out of it. I can annotate it to figure out theories. But this is the novella bind-up for the Throne of Glass series. This you can either read as a prequel, like they're prequel novellas, but you can read them pretty much any point before the fourth book, I'd say. But we're starting off with this. And Throne of Glass, I actually just have Throne of Glass over here, so I can just hold it up. But Throne of Glass, basically we are following Selena Sardathian, who is an assassin, who she was imprisoned in the mines of Endover as a punishment for being an assassin. She ends up getting the opportunity given to her by Prince Dorian, who's the son of the King of Adarlan, to basically, if she competes in the king's competition to be the royal assassin, basically if she wins, she, after 5 years, ends up getting her freedom back. And so this, we are kind of following Selena's adventures before Throne of Glass, and kind of seeing what ends up putting her in prison. And this will be my third time reading it. I'm not ready because if you've read this, you know why. But I'm excited that I am rereading it because I am going into it with a different perspective of looking for theories and looking for similarities and all of that. And for finally, roll 9 of 9 is a 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What the fuck is it with Community Shelf? Holy shit. We know what this is. 18 plus, meaning it's something that is 18 plus, as in like new adult, spicy. I'm here for this prompt. And somehow we got a third fucking Community Shelf card, which was 18 plus. And for this, I am reading Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark. Was this on my March TBR? Yes. Did I read it? No. So am I just carrying it over on my April TBR? Yes. So this basically, the Griffins and the Gallows have been battling for control of Chicago's underworld for generations. Their bitter rivalry reignites when Ada, the youngest and wildest Gallows sibling, crashes a party at the Griffin mansion, accidentally setting fire to the library. To stave off all that war, her father arranges a marriage with Callum Griffin, eldest son and heir. Cold, ambitious, and brutal, Callum is determined to tame his headstrong bride. Ada is more than capable of giving as good as she gets, starting with poisoning Callum on their wedding night. In their struggle for dominance, who will break first? I'm so excited to read this. I was going to read it in March, but obviously I didn't, and I love that these have illustrations. That's one that I can show that is not spicy, but they have just so many, well, not so many, but there's a few like things. I'm so excited to read this. So that was my Bookopoly rolls. Now moving on to, first we'll take a pit stop at Realmathon, which for this I'm not setting a set TBR. I am pledging myself to Cyrus, which is the romance team, and I have recently been reading quite a bit of romance, and there is a few romances on this TBR. So yeah, but I know that I am just kind of gonna go as I read books, figure out what prompts they work for and all that, because even if I don't read romance, I can still count books for points as long as they fit prompts. So that's kind of what I will do. And then I also will be participating in Realmathon. Editing me is screaming at filming me because I meant to say I am also participating in the Magical Readathon. I am an idiot. But I'm not setting a strict TBR because I have 4 callings that I kind of want to go for, as in at the end of the month, whatever calling I've completed, I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna grab my laptop so I can do this better. So I'm looking down on my lap because that's where my laptop is. So I have 3 callings that I'm interested in. So one is healer, which the classes I need are elemental studies, alchemy, inscription, and restoration. I also have scribe, which is elemental studies, inscriptions, spells and incantations, restoration, and lore. And then also the hardest one that I want to do is master of elements, which those classes are elemental studies, shape-shifting, animal studies, astronomy, configuration, and restoration. So I'm just going to read out all of the prompts and like that I need to do to complete all of those prompts. But then at the end of the month, I'll pick what I actually want to do as like that's my calling for figuring out for August. So alchemy, principle of transmutation, metal in the title. For this, I will be trying to read Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Last Hour series. I actually have the entire series next to me that I really want to read. This takes place in 1903 Edwardian London, as we are following a group of shadow hunters, which are basically humans with angel blood that kill demons. And as a new shadow hunter family moves into town, so do these demon attacks that nobody can explain, and it's just our shadow hunters trying to figure that out. And so if I get to this, I will count it for that prompt. So then also we have animal studies, heads and tails. Flip a coin, heads equals nonfiction, tails equals fiction. So I'm going to actually just Google coin toss, and I'm going to literally film my reaction right now doing it. I'm going to record my screen of my tab to see what it is. There we go. So let's flip it. And it's tails, which is a fiction. Thank the ever-loving fuck. I did not want to read a nonfiction. So for this, I'm just going to pick any book that I don't already have on my Magical Readathon TBR. To fit that, it can be any fiction book I want. So for astronomy, the eclipse effect, 2 E's in the title. This I have written down as Top Secret by Elle Kennedy and Serena Bowen. My friend Reese has been yelling at me to read this, so I figured it fits this prompt, so I might try to read it. But this, I don't really know much about it, except basically we follow a guy who gets propositioned by another guy to join a threesome with the other guy's girlfriend, and then the 2 guys fall for each other. I think that's kind of briefly how it is, of like they meet online on a dating site and something like that. I don't really know anything beyond that, but it works because it has 2 E's in secret, and so it works. Conjuration, spirit binding spells recommended by a friend. Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark, or actually even A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Both of these works, and I don't think I have either of these as other prompts. Yeah, so both of these work because this was recommended to me by Nikki and she bought it for me. This was recommended to me by Karina and she bought it for me. So I forgot to mention thank you so much to Karina for buying this for me for my birthday. So either one of these works. For elemental studies, which is Botanic Controls, flower on the cover. The Vanishing by Carla Nicole. It has flowers on the cover. It works. Spells and incantation, spell, magic missiles, and then you need a book, but that's between 389 pages and 415. This is 409, I think. The book ends on 409 and the acknowledgements end on 415. It works perfect. So that's what we will doing. That's what we will be doing. Inscription, a book from your highest shelf. Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. This is from my top shelf. And this is the sequel to Chain of Gold, which I've already mentioned. So yeah. Lore, a book with a map. The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. It has... Come on. It has a map of Aurelia. Is that how you pronounce it? Aurelia. We'll go with it. But there's a map. And then finally, Restoration, which is Occult Cures. Close eyes, shuffle, and point. I did that where I put literally every single book that I've mentioned so far, plus a few others, in a stack, and I kind of like tried to shuffle them the best that I could, and then I literally pointed from across the room, and then I picked what I got, which ended up being Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, which I've already talked about. Editing me again, because I forgot to mention the prompt for shape-shifting. So shape-shifting is form wolf. Wolf in the cover or in the title or in the author's name. Court by Tracy Wolf. The author's last name is Wolf. Yes, it is with 2 F's, but it still counts. So you may think, okay, is that the end of the TBR? No, I still have my TBR jar, which this is just a, like, all of the ebooks that I own, minus pretty much, I think, from January, February, and March, because those I'm writing out on a Google Doc and it's not full yet. And I don't want to print it off until it's full, because why waste the paper? But also these are just like kind of my backlog of ebooks, let's just say, and I will pick one out and I'll try to read it. If I don't read it, that is okay. There's no punishment for these. This is just kind of an encouragement to read the book. And I will say, if I don't know anything about these, I'm not Googling them. Let's just go with, okay, there's, I want one that's farther down. Let's go with this one. Let's put the lid on so I don't, and I've already dropped it. Which is, the fuck is it? I can't read my own things. Possession by Jessica Hawkins. I have no idea what this is, so I think I actually might Goodreads it. Okay, it looks like it's just a BDSM romance. This is the cover. So I'm not gonna complain about that. So yeah, Possession by Jessica Hawkins. Let's see how I like it if I do end up reading it. So now, that is literally all the books that are on my TBR. I guess minus, I do also need to try to get to Crown of Midnight in April, and I would like to, if I get to the first 2 books in the series, get to Chain of Thorns, which is the 3rd book in the Last Hour series. But other than that, that is pretty much all I have planned. Let's see how well I can do this. So yeah, let me know what is one book that you are reading in April, or if you've read any of these, or just anything bookish in the comments below. But also, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps my channel grow. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in my next video. Bye!